Hello, welcome back to Module 2 for Press Play on Your Podcast. I'm so glad you are here again. I loved getting to talk with you last week and share about, everything as we're getting started with this program. So this week we're going to cover a couple of my favorite things. The first thing is going to be project management, where to actually like house everything that you're working on for your podcast. I definitely recommend you using some kind of project management tool. It will help you so much. If you don't already use that in another part of your business or with your day-to-day life, at least use it with your podcast. So I'm going to be going through my favorite tool that I use for that, which is Trello. So I'll be doing that shortly. And then I'm also going to be going through the editing and production piece. I'm not going to do like a huge deep dive, but I'm going to show you quite a bit as far as like what I do, my process when I'm working on when I'm editing and producing audio files for my clients and their shows, kind of the step by step, and then some of my like best editing tips that again, you don't have to implement all of them, but I definitely want to show you several things that are helpful just to kind of aim for like so that higher quality editing piece. Like I said, for your audio, for your episodes when you are sharing your podcasts. Again, last week we talked more about like your equipment and environment. And honestly, I think your environment is the most important thing. Obviously, having quality equipment is, really important as well. But once you have those set up, then of course, you're going to actually start recording your podcast. And then I'm going to cover, as far as the editing production piece, also how you can record your episodes, like what some tools and programs are for that. So that is what we're going to cover in this episode. Or this, not this episode. I like clearly have podcasts on the brain. I think I'm actually going to split this into a couple different ones just because I know the editing one is going to take a little bit longer. I know it's going to be a little more in depth. So this first video, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the project management piece because again, I know that will be shorter. So I am going to share my screen again here shortly. Like I said, my favorite tool that I use is Trello. It is free. I know they have like a paid version. I have gotten to the point, I think you can have up to 10 boards, which again, that's not gonna affect you. Like for me, I'm working on multiple client shows. So I have run into that where like if I am bringing a new client on, then I will have to, if I'm not working with somebody else. Again, I try to like obviously I have plenty of programs I pay for, but I like to have, of course, free ones as well. And Trello, my project management tool, is free. So I'm going to share my screen here just a moment. Um, okay, that is my note section. Hang on, I want to be able to share this. I hope you are seeing this. Because I pulled up I think you should be because I can see myself now. Okay. All right, so this is what Trello looks like. Again, I have several boards over here, so I'm just going to go into one of my boards. Again, if you just go to Trello.com, you can sign up for a free account. And I'm just going to show you one of my newest clients that I'm working with. So I have it created. Let me kind of move this out of the way so I can go. So when you first get into Trello, you can go over to these little dots here and it gives you like a menu option. You can choose like a background, obviously label your board if you want to give like a description, that kind of thing. Again, you are just going to be using one for for your specific podcast. Like I said, I'm used to working on multiple different ones, so I will customize it to the client. So yeah, you can kind of play around with some of those things in the settings. But then really, I just kind of want to show you some of the features as far as it's like a checklist option, which is nice. It kind of depends on what you prefer, like looking at things, how it is like most helpful for you as far as like organization, that kind of thing. There are a couple of other project management options I will talk about at the end. But like I said, I specifically use Trello for my client shows, and it is great. Like I said, I think especially as you're just getting started, it seems to work really well for most people. Again, don't feel like you have to use Trello, but again, that's what I'm used to using. So I want to go through that with you. So I like to have a checklist here, kind of some launch to-dos, and really you can just kind of create, let me just uncheck these so you can kind of see, but these are some of the main things. Normally, like I said, you're going to have your show title chosen, and then you're going to work on, and I should say, these are like a lot of the options these are like one-time things for the launch specifically. So that's why I have it labeled as launch checklist. And like I said, when I'm working with a client, when we're, working together on things, I'm going through, I'm like, okay, once we have their show description done, I'm checking that off, their cover art, their music, all of that, they've shared their episodes with me. Those are all done. So it's really nice because you can just go through and check those. If you do want to if you're starting from the very beginning, I'll just go through and do that real quick. Let me check these real quick so I don't forget what I had for this client. You can do a checklist and due dates, which is nice. Let me go to this one doesn't have a checklist yet. So if you're going to create a brand new checklist, you can definitely do that. And then add an item. So like I said, we can do like if this is just like your weekly to do for your episode, like your to dos, obviously you're going to record your episode, or maybe you're going to want to start with like brainstorm or think about your episode topic, go through that, or write your outline for your show. Again, I'm used to getting once my client has already recorded their episode, and then they're giving it to me. So that's usually my first thing. But for you, it'd probably be like outlining your episode, creating like bullet points, notes, anything like that that's helpful for you as you start recording. And then of course going in and actually recording it. And then, doing the editing, production piece, and then writing your show notes, scheduling. So any of those things, like I said, that would be what you would want to add in there. And if you have any specific questions about like what all you need to add in there, like definitely let me know. Again, most people, you're going to be recording your episodes, like I said, getting a plan for that, some kind of outline, recording and then editing, and then writing your show notes, choosing your episode title, writing your show notes, and then scheduling it to your host platform, which again, we'll be talking more about that in one of the next couple of modules, creating any like promotional graphics, scheduling on social media, scheduling in an email, writing like a blog post on your website for your podcast episode. So there's a lot of different things. So again, that is just, I recommend, once you do create a checklist once, it will normally save it. So then you can do it, week after week or bi-weekly, however often you're releasing your episodes. And then I always recommend adding a due date because that's a huge thing. So again, whatever your due date is that you need it by, definitely do that. That gives you some accountability for sure, especially like I said, as you're DIYing it. Or even if you do outsource it eventually, like I said, you definitely want to have some kind of due date. So, like I said, you can just create a lot of different cards here. Like I said, I have, and I will plan to share like this template in the group. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to go through it here, but like I said, I have show description, cover art, music, trailer. Again, you can put anything in the description here. I always like to do that, like any kind of notes, and then even if it's just you, again, if you're eventually like working with somebody, you can put a comment here and tag that person if they've joined your board, which again, if you do add somebody eventually, you can invite them to join the board. But yeah, really, like I said, just creating several different cards. Um, so I have like I said, that start here, the checklist, which again, I think that is really important. And then like your prep and setup, just going through, like I said, your equipment. There is a process, like I said, with submitting your show to the platforms, which again, that'll be a later module. I will cover that process. But yeah, like I said, and like I said, I will just plan to share this. I feel like that will be a lot easier than me going through like everything here. But I really just kind of wanted to share like the setup, what it looks like. Like I said, then you can have, like I said, once you get your launch pieces completed, those will stay in there. But again, those are like one-time things where, like I said, your episodes 1, 2, 3, and so on. You'll have, like I said, a checklist, a due date, and week after week, and you can just, when you're ready for a new one, you can just add a card. So anyway, yeah. And like I said, and then once your episode is scheduled, I like to have it to where I can move it. So you can move the cards to scheduled or live. So that is really nice as well. Oops, I'm gonna move that back up. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty user-friendly overall. You can you can change the titles here. Like I said, I have several different, title options for my different columns and that kind of thing. You can add another list. So yeah, like I said, that is basically Trello. Like I said, it works really well for what I need right now, as far as, like I said, with working on my client shows. There are a couple of other different options. ClickUp and Asana are really good as well. I worked in Asana with a couple of other clients who already had that set up, and then I do work in ClickUp. I do work in ClickUp right now with one of my clients. She had somebody set that up for her, and that's been great. And then I use it with somebody else as well. So like I said, for me, when I'm setting it up with a client from the beginning, I do like to use Trello, but like I said, there are other options. So those are the 3 main ones that I would recommend. And again, it's just kind of, ClickUp is definitely a lot more robust. I think if you're like a solopreneur, or like I said, if you're, like I said, DIYing your podcast, you may not need all the bells and whistles that it offers. I think eventually that's something I would probably switch to, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Like I said, Trello still works really well for me right now. So that is what I'm sticking with. And then, like I said, Asana is really good too. I feel like it's kind of in between. So if you have any questions about that, definitely let me know, like as far as uh like again, what option would make sense. And like I said, setting it up, that kind of thing. And I will share links to all of those as well. But like I said, Trello is definitely my recommendation. I am just checking my notes real quick to make sure I don't want to miss anything. So again, I think I'm going to keep that video. I'm going to keep this video just for the project management piece. And then I'm going to start a new video that will be more about editing and my tools, how I use for that, and go through some of basically my step-by-step process and just show you, like I said, some of the functions and that kind of thing. So let me know if you have any questions about the project management using Trello or any of the other tools I mentioned. Again, I will plan to share a template, and I should say, if you already have something set up for your podcast or for your business that you already like using and you are familiar with it, that's awesome. Like I said, happy to talk about that with you and see, what works the best for you.